PathMonk is the intelligent tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, over 98% of website visitors don't convert. The ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey separates you from the competition online. PathMonk qualifies and converts leads on your website by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. Stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by 50%. Add PathMonk to your website in seconds. Let the AI do all the work and get access to 50% more qualified leads while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us on pathmonk.com. Welcome to today's episode. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Roman Randall from Pangea, co-founder with them. How you doing today, Roman?
Hey, Ernesto, I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
It's great to have you on, and we're excited to learn a little bit more about Pangea and what everyone's excited to learn how someone could master FX like the global giants, right? So, in your own words, can you tell us a little bit more about Pangea, Roman?
Yeah, absolutely. So Pangea.io, we are a software company. We help companies manage FX. So FX stands for foreign exchange. In a nutshell, we help companies do two things. So if you're a nonprofit organization or a for-profit company and you move money internationally, whether it's payroll or you're buying supplies or just sending money to beneficiaries in another country, we help you do that better, faster, and cheaper. And then also anybody who's familiar with FX knows that foreign exchange rates fluctuate. It's what we call volatility. And that volatility can eat into your revenue and into your profits. It can make things cost more money than you initially budgeted for. So to protect against this, we basically productize derivatives to help companies easily hedge against FX risk.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. And I mean, in this day and age, I think after pandemic, I think a lot of global work from home and different countries type of situation. I think really situated to, people, I work from Latin America and I have my employees in Australia or Europe or anywhere. So it's definitely nice to see something like this around there. Great to have on.
Yeah.
And so that way maybe we could focus laser in a little bit and get a good understanding for our listeners. What key problem then would you say you solve for clients?
Yeah, we're helping people who have FX challenges, so foreign exchange challenges. So I'll give you a few examples. So let's say you are a US-based company and you are buying, or let's say you have a staff over in Japan and you pay them in Japanese yen, so JPY. Well, depending on, you may initially budget their expense to be a certain number, but as the exchange rates between USD and JPY change throughout the year, it could end up costing you more depending on if the currency moves in your favor or against your favor. So in that example, we're helping companies hedge against that, the risk they have there. Or you might be a nonprofit who, you're doing work in Uganda or Kenya, and you just need to get money there, faster. And also it's possible that your bank is, charging you an arm and a leg. A lot of people don't realize that, they think, a lot of companies think FX and the fees associated with moving money is just kind of the cost of doing business, but it doesn't actually have to be that way. Our platform is an AI-based platform, and you basically tell us like, hey, I need to send money from America to Uganda by this date, and we will not only send it there cheaper than banks, but we can also do it faster and at the best time to send that money for you. So, and it's a lot easier. Anybody that's tried to wire money internationally through a bank, a lot of times you can't even do it on like online. You have to go into a branch, and so not only is it cheaper and faster, but it's also just not as big of a pain to do it through Pangea. So if you're sending money or if you're trying to hedge against FX risk, those are the problems that we're solving for companies and organizations.
Definitely. I think you mentioned something I can't you mentioned it right now, I just can't rephrase it, but you mentioned, I think we're accustomed to the fees that everybody just thinks that they're normal, but they shouldn't be, right? So I'm glad that somebody tackling that. That's great to hear. So then primarily, who would your clients be? Is there a segment vertical that you guys like to focus on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the way I look at it is, at a high level, it's global or international. So anybody that's doing business cross borders. I'd say the two verticals that we have the most traction in right now are high growth startups. And these startups typically have like a platform. And then the second group is nonprofits. So nonprofits that are just, doing work around the world and just trying to move money better, faster, and cheaper.
Definitely. Okay, perfect. And what would you say? How do you guys get those people in the door there at Pangea? What would you say is your top client acquisition channel?
Yeah, great question. So far, the top channel this year has been search, so both paid and organic search. We invest into advertising, we invest into SEO. We've also had really good traction at trade shows and events. Our founder and CEO, Aaron Sullivan, has spoken at some events this year. And then we've also just gone and as attendees. And so sometimes just meeting people there, getting to know them, learning about their FX challenges has been a great acquisition channel for us. And then also partners. Partners is probably the third channel that has been very effective for us is, people who are connected to our end user. That's the way to think about it.
Okay, perfect. All right. And well, I am here on the website, pangea.io. What role does the website play for your client acquisition?
Yeah, the website is very important to us, and I think to any company. It's really kind of your digital, 24/7 online sales force. And so for us, it's kind of the digital home base. If people see us or hear about us and, they type in Pangea, technologies or whatever on Google, that's going to be their first interaction with us. And they're going to learn about, what we do and how we can help them potentially without even talking to anybody. And so it's important that the information's there, that it's in a way that reflects the brand and the messaging voice that we want to communicate. And ultimately, it's important that the website helps, the prospect, or maybe it's an investor or possible partner. It allows them to take the next action. So the primary action that we're looking for, as you can see, is, we're looking for people who want to get on the platform and, who want to see a demo and talk more. So very important.
Definitely. Okay, perfect. Awesome. And like you mentioned, this year has been a huge trend in AI. Is there any tools or methods that you guys applied this year as far as AI into marketing, or is there any that you plan on doing?
Yeah, we're in the process of rolling out a few proprietary AI strategies. One's called Parachute, another one's called Autopilot. We have a team of quants and developers and engineers. Some of them have worked at very successful companies. They've worked on ICE, on the Internet Continental Exchange, and so it's a very complex problem that we're trying to make simple. Foreign exchange hedging is not easy, and so there's a lot of stuff that, when I say we're productizing derivatives, we're productizing, the derivatives that companies use to hedge against risk, and putting it into a product. And so our AI strategies like Parachute and Autopilot allow companies to easily hedge with those productized derivatives.
Definitely. All right, awesome. And well, let's switch gears a little bit, Roman, and talk about you as a leader. You being the co-founder there for Pangea. What are some key tasks you focus on your day-to-day work?
Yeah, the biggest thing I think is vision and strategy. How are we going to get, what is a strategy is a goal with the game plan. So how are we what is the goal and how are we going to get there and achieve it? And so that's something that you don't just set it and forget it. It's something that has to be revisited. So vision, strategy, managing a team. We have a team at Pangea. We have vendors as well, making sure that they're on the tracks and moving in, the right direction. And then I also, I have meetings with leadership, meetings with prospects as well. And that's kind of my world. I'm the chief marketing officer. So, making sure that marketing is producing, making sure that marketing is connected to product and sales. That's important that the departments are connected and aware of, what's going on and that there's that feedback loop. So that's kind of a high level view of my day to day. And then my background is in SEO and ads, and so I also like to make sure I'm aware of what's going on, especially since that's been a big driver of leads and pipeline for us this year.
Definitely, that's important. But let's switch into our rapid fire question round section. So are you ready, Roman?
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. First off, what is the last book that you read?
Well, you can see it up there. I've got a lot of books, but the last two that I've read have been by Alex Hormozy, $100 million offers and $100 million leads. Best books on marketing. I was just telling somebody else the other day about them too, but Alex is a great communicator. He takes very important and fundamental marketing fundamental stuff and makes it very easy to understand and implement. So highly recommend those two books.
All right, awesome. Now, what is one single thing that Pangea is focused on at the moment the most?
Yeah, so in 2024, we're going to be releasing our API, and so if you're a company that has a product, a platform, and you have an FX problem, maybe you are taking foreign currency, maybe you are based in America or the UK or another country, but you've got people paying you in Great British Pound, US dollar, a whole bunch of different currencies. That's an FX problem. And so we're going to be building on an API where if you're a platform, you can actually hook up into Pangea and use our hedging API to make a lot of the FX hedging task. Excuse me. My Bernese Mountain Dog walked in. So we're going to be building a API, where your product can integrate with our technology and hedge on the platform. So it could be your product could build out a new feature for the users, and you could have a new revenue stream, or it's also something that your company could just use our API to just hedge your own risk as well.
All right, interesting. Looking forward to that in 2024. Now, if there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be that one thing that you want to have fixed for your role as a marketer today?
Yeah, this is a great question. I think this might be a little bit of a different answer, but I don't know if you've ever seen the TV show Loki.
Yeah.
Okay, so you remember there's a scene in a few scenes where they have this like I don't know if they spin it or if they draw this like door, but they do this door where they're allowed to go from like one reality, they walk through it and they're in another reality. And if there were no boundaries in technology and like we could do anything, I would probably build something like that, because I think one of the challenges of we're a fully remote company. We have staff in multiple different countries, multiple different time zones. And I love remote work. I'm a huge fan of it, but I think what can get lost is the value of being in person, whether it's creative brainstorming, problem solving, or just the connection that you make in person that you just don't get digitally, which is so critical to team culture. So, one of the things we do at Pangea is we try to do at least 2, sometimes 3 or 4 retreats a year in person. And there's something about being in person that is just so important to the work we do, but also to the culture. So if there were no boundaries in technology, I would do the Loki door so that we could all be together in person more frequently.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, definitely. So if there's one repetitive task that you could automate, what would that be?
That's a great question. If there was one task, I think sometimes reporting can be challenging. I think, we're in the B2B space as a company, but even in B2C, B2B world, oftentimes there's long sales cycles, multiple touch points, and tracking the conversion paths accurately can be a challenge. So I think if I could have more accurate reporting be automated, that would be huge.
All right, awesome. Great to hear that. And I love asking this question. What is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to restart your journey as a marketer today?
Yeah, this is a great question. I thought about this a lot. I think as a marketer, it's very important to understand it all, but to be really, really good at one or two things. And so, for example, something that's helped my career, and I've been in marketing for 15 years. Something that's really helped my career is like knowing strategy, understanding copywriting, knowing, conversion rate optimization, even technologies like, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I understand how they work. That that understanding allows me to know what's possible, and it allows me to communicate with multiple different teams. But it's also super important to be really, really good at one to two things. So I'd say for me, those two things has been leadership, and then the second one has been SEO and advertising.
Awesome. Great advice there. Well, Roman, thanks a lot for being on the show with us today. I do want to give you the last word. If someone forgets everything about the interview today, what is that one thing they should remember about Pangea?
If you're moving money across borders, you have an FX challenge, whether or not you realize it. And we would love to talk with you and have a conversation and just explore how we could work together. So go to Pangea.io, send us a message, fill out the demo request form. Our email is also on the footer. But we'd love to talk with you and see how we could potentially help you hedge against risk and move money internationally better, faster, and cheaper.
Awesome. There you guys heard it from Roman from Pangea.io. Thanks a lot again, Roman. For our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in and looking forward to our next episode at Pathmonk Presents. Thanks a lot, Roman.
Thanks, Ernesto.